Hey everyone, this is a clip from a recent episode of Another Pass, where we talk about movies and all the struggles that go into making them. If you like it, check out the whole podcast. You can find it at certainpov.com or wherever you get your podcasts.
I do want to talk about, so I'm going to say this, spoiler alert for anyone who does not know the twist end of this film. Okay, guys, like this book has been out for forever. This is the fourth film that's ever made. If you don't know this, stop the podcast now, go watch it, maybe even this version, so you know exactly what we're talking about. But I'm going to talk about the music played over the reenactment of everyone coming together to murder Cassetti. It's inspirational. Why is the music inspirational? Like, it's like I get it. Okay, like he's a scumbag. Okay, he killed a child. Like he did this horrible thing, and he got away with it. You know, and him getting away with it destroyed so many people's lives, and also like a woman was falsely accused and killed herself. So many things happened because Cassetti's a scumbag. However, these people basically planned an entire production to get him trapped on a train so that they could murder him. And I understand that, yes, this is like a call to justice, but why the inspirational music? Like, you're not making them into better people. Like this is not, I don't even, is this what Branagh thinks Agatha Christie's message was? And I would like your thoughts on that. Do you guys think that he thinks that this is like a kumbaya, come together for justice moment? Because it's like an airplane line. They like each take turns stabbing this dude. Okay, go on. I'm sorry.
No. That's like the whole thing about this, right? Because what happens and Poirot's reaction to it is like a departure from the character, right? So he always gets the guy or people or whoever is the murderer and reports them to the authorities, and they go to jail. And this is like the one and only time that he's like, oh well, you know what, I get it, that's fine, I'm just gonna let you all go live your lives. So in response to your question about does Kenneth Branagh think that this is an inspirational moment, like kind of, maybe, yeah. Also just the way it was directed, and everyone's determination going into it is like, well, this is what we're doing now, and all except for, you know, at the end, Michelle Pfeiffer's, you know, big dramatic stab, everyone just kind of goes in pretty matter-of-factly, like, well, this is what we have to do. It reminded me of Julius Caesar.
Yeah, it does. It's kind of like I was actually like sitting there and I'm watching it, and it made me think of that scene in Airplane where the woman's hysterical and everyone's lined up to smack her, and it's just something that they're doing. They're just telling her to shut up, and they're just like the next person online. That's what it kind of felt like. Like it just kind of like, I mean, there were some moments of like, you would see it on their face, like, but then they would just like stab him, like, okay, well, here you go, here's the knife. Like,
Yeah, it's like a ritual aspect. I think that's sort of like I didn't take it as inspirational so much as like holy, or you know, it was like a mission for them all.
But the music felt like I don't know, like the music was giving me like inspo, come together, like we're together in this kind of moment, like, you know, like a showcase for some digital new wave, like, guys, this is the future of meta. Like, that's what the music was giving me. And they were like in black and white, like just up angles at them stabbing at what I assume is a dummy, like, just like cloth, just stabbing it, and like, just like, oh no, now I've got to stab this guy for the child. Like, it was like, it was weird, guys. It just weirded me out.
Well, I mean, like the actual like ending of the story and like the way that like Poirot takes it all is very interesting from the standpoint of like, well, none of these are bad people outside of the fact that they have all been grievously hurt by this individual, and they all came together collectively to enact their vengeance. It is kind of transformative, and like Poirot interpreting that and deciding to not position himself, or not to allow for a shade of gray, is in its own way like kind of this like cathartic experience for him. Like the person who, like, they are all scarred by the fact that they have all committed murder because none of them are inherently killers. And then he is kind of scarred by the fact that he fully relates and sympathizes with them in this situation.
Absolutely. Yes, for sure. And I did find the music bizarre in a lot of points, or just too much.
Too much. Too much is the general.
A little Kenneth Branagh, if you will. But yeah, just, and that also though, Case, what you were saying, like this is allowing for a shade of gray for Poirot for the first time. We really get that message because at the beginning he says there is only wrong or right or something along those lines.
It's only black and white. You said that.
And then at the end, right before, the big parlor or train tunnel reveal, as it were, he does another like, maybe there is a shade of gray. And it's like, I get it. Thank you.
The actual line was, before I thought there was black and white, and now there's you, a shade of gray. like it was so heavy-handed that my brain memorized that shit, and I was like, really you set them up like the Last Supper, and like for you to reveal it, and then you say this, sir?
Yeah, well, he needed the most elaborate scene possible for him to chew it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, of course.
Again, it's Kenneth Branagh.
I was trying to remember, and I decided not to look it up because, let the movie exist on its own. But like, I was trying to remember if in the book he has a gun trained on them the whole time, and I can't imagine that is what is in the book. Like, it just seems like so much because he's walking around during the reveal with this gun in his hand, and it's very jarring. Like, they're all gonna sit there. I mean, I know we just had a moment where, he was assaulted by one of them, but I feel like that's been pretty well subdued at this point. And if he doesn't think that these people are a threat, it again seems like.
Yeah, it's interesting because you're right. And if you're going to let them go, right, you're going to let them go anyway, then why the gun, right? Like if I know you're revealing to them that that they're murderers. So maybe that's the thing. Like, he's like, oh, I don't know how they're going to react to being called out completely for murdering this guy and knowing that they're all in cahoots with each other. So maybe that's the gun.
I don't mind him having it and then like putting it on the table, and the whole moment with like, even this moment where he says, you're going to need to kill me if I'm going to let you go, because that's clearly a test, the most obvious test. And the fact that she then tries to kill herself instead of him, maybe that's the deciding factor where he's like, no. I really do need to let all of these people go because they're not bad people. But like, he had it trained on him the whole time that he was talking to them, and he could have just brought it out at the end. That's my little my little edit for that scene is why the brandishing.
I mean, it's like what Michael Scott said on The Office. There's nothing more dramatic than a gun.
except maybe other parts of this movie, but yes.
Except for Kenneth Branagh.
Yes.
Right. There's nothing more dramatic than a gun. Unless you're Kenneth Branagh, then you're more dramatic than a gun.
Yes.
Remember, if you like that clip, check out the podcast. You can find it at certainpov.com or wherever you get your podcasts.